just wrapped one of the more epic Disneyland construction updates of our careers here at Fresh Baked. Nothing major, but so much interesting stuff going on. Hey guys, how are you? Downtown Disney, Adventureland Treehouse. Oh, I can't forget, Splash Mountain. All this coming up next on Fresh Baked. Okay, this might be perhaps my favorite update of the week this week. We've been following closely Adventureland Treehouse, obviously, for months, for years now. I mean, even when there was nothing happening, we were like every week asking the question, what's going on with Tarzan's Treehouse? One of my main concerns has always been the future of that waterfall that runs along on the ground out from the left side or from the right side as you're facing it, and then down in front of the treehouse. Vital to the scene of the treehouse, in my opinion. I had reported that you could tell that they had cleared out a whole bunch of that area, and I was concerned about its future, as I mentioned. But the scrim is down, has been down for a couple days, and lo and behold, you can see the rock work still there. Now, obviously, this means if they were going to destroy the waterfall, they would have done that rock work would have been destroyed by now. Obviously, it would have been destroyed with the rest of it. Now, it looks a little worse for wear. Don't get me wrong. It doesn't look like it's 100%, but I have a feeling, they're just waiting until the end to finish off to clean up that area, fill in those gaps, pulling up those holes, etc. So, it was a concern, but I still always believed it because you have to source. There has to be a water source for the water wheel and the whole plumbing system that is existing throughout the treehouse. So the water had to come from somewhere. But anyway, it eased my mind a little bit seeing that rockwork still there. But it's also a little bit jarring looking at all that open space back there. They completely destroyed, obliterated the kitchen. Remember the kitchen and the little botanical garden and all that? That's gone. That is all gone. Not that I thought that was going to stay, but it's just kind of alarming to see it all vanished. Just big open space there. So they got a lot of work to do. They're going to rebuild that kitchen entirely, and who knows what else. Maybe they're going to replace the botanical garden with something else. Not sure what this big blue thing that's wrapped up here. I'm not sure what that is. That could be a lot of things. That could be a tree trunk, perhaps, because it could be something. It looks like it's fortified. You know what I'm saying? This looks like it's sturdy. It's going to be the basis of something. Could be a tree trunk. Could actually, I imagined they built their own stove, like one of those stoves made out of stone, a hearth, as it were. It's kind of shaped like that. And I feel like that's a possibility. But otherwise, we're going to have to, hopefully they keep this scrim down for a little while and we can see what's going on there. I would very much love to see how this kitchen area, well, formerly known as kitchen, develops. But this is very exciting news. This had me so happy that I stopped in my tracks. I was at the park filming something else entirely, and I just stopped dead in my tracks when I could see that sign or that scene. And I was hoping that the scrim would still be down by the time I came back to following, today to do my construction update. So relieved there. Meanwhile, as for the rest of the treehouse, the daughter's room is wrapped up in two different ways. There's like a plastic wrap on the left side there, and then like a cloth wrap over the railing here in the front. Maybe they're getting ready for new paint, something to that effect. That's usually the kind of thing you see when they are prepping for paint. Meanwhile, the son's room, the bridge is also wrapped in a plastic wrap, but it's also covered in a netting, which is new. You don't see that netting type feature anywhere else in the treehouse. Almost to the point where it looks out of place, and I'm wondering if that's permanent. Speaking of surprises, I was at Splash Mountain, for the farewell, and I happened to get on the train, and I happened to notice then that the scrim was down on the right half of Tianas Palace. So luckily, again, I was hoping that they would still be down when I came back, and sure enough, the scrim was still down, and it's revealing quite a bit, actually. That's our new paint. That yellow paint with the red trim on the brick there and the green, that's the final color. That's the final paint job. And you can see it's kind of different, actually, from the paint job, the existing paint job. I don't believe that has been redone, and I don't believe they're going to repaint that section. As you can see here, that This area was previously covered by scrim, and they took the scrim down, which suggests that that is finished, and that color is the same as what we're seeing back in over there by the mint julep bar. So that looks to be your final product there, your final color scheme, and it looks nice. Looks nice enough for me. You can see also that the awning for the mint julep bar has received a primer coat or some sort of base coat there. That was just last week. That was still like a bare wood. It was unfinished, like a blue and white type color. But they've added a base coat there, so we're probably going to get a new color there. Not sure what that final result's going to be. Flooring remains untouched here in the main seating area, so I don't expect, if they were going to be doing anything here, they would have done it already. So they've kept the flooring here. Bandstand has not yet been updated. No new paint, no primer, no anything. Actually, I'm not even sure if that thing has been scraped yet. It still is in the phase before the unfinished wood phase. Now, here's an interesting shot. I got this from the train loading area, the train queue. They have repainted the wrought iron railing around the balcony. This is the balcony. Tiana's going to appear here, we assume, based on the concept art. And from what I heard, when they first announced this, they said that Tiana would be appearing on this balcony. How often, I couldn't say. But anyway, that's the balcony where you're supposed to find Tiana, and they have repainted it to this gold color. It used to be, all of the wrought iron there was green. And everything still is green, except for this area that has gotten a new coat of gold paint. Now, my guess is that they're doing this to maybe match Tiana. Her dress is kind of a yellow gold or yellow green situation in the concept art anyway. They could be trying to provide a contrast. Maybe she comes out in a bright green or a more solid green dress, which the gold might provide a contrast, even though it's not the traditional contrasting color for green. It does still, she would blend in perhaps to the green wrought iron, I'm guessing. And then here's a second look at the flooring area that shows that the area that they did dig up, the area that they have added new concrete, looks to be red pavers. You can see that there's stones as opposed to just a solid surface. It's a stone paver surface there. And then I tried to peek through this. You can see, I've been here 3 times with the scrim down, and all 3 times you could see directly through. That's the exit. This is the exit when you walk out with your food, and you can see straight through to the entrance, the door, from on the opposite side of the building. You can see straight through there, and it looks to me, maybe, it's hard to say for sure, but it looks like they have gutted that part of the room at least that part of the room. I'm not sure the whole thing, but at least that section we can see looks kind of bare from here, which wouldn't surprise me because I looked at the work order for Tianas Palace, or the spec sheet that when they put it up for bid, and they mentioned that they were going to be replacing quite a lot of the interiors and in the kitchen. The kitchen was going to get a remodel as well. Interesting development over the weekend at Adventureland. We have reports that there was some kind of disturbance, I guess, in the Adventureland bathrooms. They had to close off the entrance to Adventureland for a minute, and they immediately put walls up around the Adventureland bathrooms, and people were reporting that you could visibly see water leaking out in front of right out there in front of the tiki room. I also have reports anecdotally that you could hear a jackhammer back there from the direction of the Adventureland bathroom. Now, I mentioned this here just because it's something that was talked about on social media, but it appears to be, I don't think it's any big deal. All the affected areas, the first day Tropical Hideaway was closed, as was the Tiki Juice Bar. Both were operational by the next day. Matter of fact, all of Adventureland was operational, with the exception just of the men's restroom. Unaffected was the ladies' restroom. So I feel like this is going to be just a no big deal. Walls are up, though, in front of the restroom as of today. In the meantime, we'll head over to Toontown real quick, because the walls are down at the Dreaming Tree at Centennial Park. The walls are down, but all they did was fix the situation with the tree. If you recall, I mentioned that the area had gotten too soft and it sunk. There were, it wasn't fortified well enough, and the area around the tree sunk down. So they did fortify that, and we're back in operation. They didn't do anything with the roots. I heard that they might replace the roots because we had some issues with the chipped paint, but I think that they're pretty satisfied. I would guess with the results of what they did to them after the initial issues they had with the chipped paint right away, which didn't take long at all for that to get messed up. But yeah, that's held up since then to all the wear and tear. So I think this is it. Matterhorn is back open. Just thought I'd let you know. Been open since June 2nd. Let's get on the monorail. Check out downtown Disney. The concrete wall has grown a bit for that main structure that they're building there. And meanwhile, you've got steel framing up in this structure behind it. They are two very separate structures. As you can see, I took this shot from the platform at the monorail station, and you can see that there's a little alleyway in between them. So two separate structures. And then there's a third to the concrete buildings to its left as you're on the monorail. Now, here's where things get a little goofy for me because I had a certain idea about what was happening here. I got this footage from the Fresh Baked Street team from the Disneyland Hotel. And look at that. They're building, there's another, you can't see it from the monorail, but there's another structure forming here. I don't know. How does that fit in with the rest of, what we see in the concept art? As I've said, I feel like the concept art, the structures are facing the Adventure Tower at the Disneyland Hotel. So if that's true, then what is that? It doesn't jive, it doesn't reconcile with what I'm seeing in the concept art, which obviously is not 100% fact, but I'm going to be really curious to see how these pieces come together. There's more to this part of downtown Disney that I think than we can see in that concept art. Staying in downtown Disney, Ralph Brennan's Jazz Kitchen is entirely and completely complete. The whole restaurant is wide open. Everything is open. The downstairs seating areas are done, both the left side and the right side. Those are open and ready for business. They are accepting guests out there. They are accepting guests inside on the bottom floor as well. Although there are none seated here, you can see that the tables have been set, which I guess maybe that's like a last resort. That's for overflow, I suppose. I know that if I were a guest, I wouldn't want to sit in that particular section. And then obviously the top floor is done. So everything is open. The beignets are open, and all the seating areas are available. This is the final product. Ralph Brennan's Jazz Kitchen, complete as of June 5th, 2023. Thoughts, everybody, thoughts. And now that Jazz Kitchen is done, clock's ticking, Joe. Nothing new to report here. We couldn't really, there's nothing visible happening. We weren't able to get upstairs this week to a ballast point to see if anything's happening, though I don't expect there to be a big difference between last week. Took a quick stop at the DVC Tower at the Disneyland Hotel, because now that I've put my eyes on what they're doing, I didn't realize that they were doing this until last week. They're building the pool on the opposite side of the hotel tower, so I have to try to look through these little gaps. They got a long way to go, you guys. They got a long way to go to finish this thing. The pool's nowhere near done, or that bottom area, which is going to wind up being the lobby. The lobby is still, I don't even know what the lobby is, to be honest. That's what we're looking at right here. That's the space where the lobby, I'm pretty sure that's where the lobby would be. But it's just open air still right now. I'm not sure what they're doing here. It looks completely done from the front, but you get down close to it, and it's not even close. Go to Pixar Place Hotel next. Because I wanted to see if anything new had happened since our first visit complete. This is the big thing here. Last week we noted this doodling on the wall, and it makes a lot more sense now, that doodling, because there was these little gaps and I couldn't figure it out. So this is artist, concept art, and it tells me that what this suggests to me is there's an artist doodling, and he kind of stops and he makes this thing right here, and then he says, "Hey, what about this turning red, giant red panda?" And then he kind of his thoughts wander, and we visit with a wonderful sketch of the brave of Merida on a horse, and there's more like this all over. You got the Incredibles concept art, so that's kind of neat. I kind of like that even more. I didn't look at the gift shop the first time we were there, so I went in the gift shop today, and Guys, I gotta tell you, I really enjoyed this gift shop. Actually, I thought it was really neat. The flooring has got this interesting pattern, but it was this art on the wall, which is modern. I want to say like cubism. That's a thing, right? I feel like that's a genre, cubism, right? Am I right? Anyway, so this is all Pixar related expression on the walls, and I kind of dig it. I mean, it's like I said this before. I like that as personally as an adult male in his 50s. I like what they did. This sort of design appeals to me. I just wonder, if it's right for this hotel, being that it's Pixar and that's family, that's kids. I dig this. Check out this Woody right here. That's really neat. I like that. Um, and there's a lot of little elements like that. So, like the stuff that you put or you dress the displays with are very cool looking. There's Buzz Lightyear, and then they're from Coco. There's Woody, and I think that's that Nemo back there. Here's some more of that art that we were noticing before, and there's a lot of this. There's sections that are specific to a single film, and there are other sections that are of a variety of films. But anyway, I like the way this is done. It looks really neat. And as I was walking around, here's some of the yeah. There's up. This whole wall right here is up. Okay, I'm looking. There's Mickey and Minnie, right? And I'm like, God, that looks familiar. Where have I seen this before? I feel like I've seen this before. And then as I'm filming this, I'm right next to a display of a bunch of merch that has those things all over it. And then I realized this is this is a whole line of clothes of merchandise for the 100th. And so they put the 100th as the theming in the store, like the production design, as it were. Okay, I like that. Here's a restroom sign. I like this restroom sign. But anyway, so we'll check back in here again because they're not done. Which, by the way, out front, uh, this is still under construction. I'm not sure this is a dining area. It's part of the Maple something or other restaurant. It's part of that, but I don't know if this is supposed to be outdoor dining. But the concept art, you can see what they're doing here. I'm looking forward to seeing how this plays out, how this finishes up. But they're nowhere near finished on that. And here we go. Splash Mountain, the day after. I mean, literally the day after these walls came up. Coming soon, Tiana's Foods, employee owned. I like that. It's nice. I like that they're not just using Tiana's Bayou Adventure as the label, but they're calling it a place. It's like an actual place. And the ride itself is the adventure, but the mountain and everything else around it is Tiana's Foods, an employee-owned company. And they're mining for something in this mountain. I prefer that as opposed to just, calling the whole thing Tiana's Bayou Adventure. I like that. So obviously, water is off. It's bare there, and I'm enjoying the. It's comical that the red or the orange pylons warning folks not to get too far out over that edge. So that tells me that there's going to be crew working up there, which we know there will be. There will be crew. There will be work done right there at that drop. You're going to see Mama Odie. That's where she appears. Mama Odie appears at the top of that hill. Instead of those vultures or whatever, you're going to see her with her magic fireflies at the top of that hill. Meanwhile, back on the ground, lots of signage and ornamentation, specific to Splash has been removed. Like for example, this the wait time board. The sign is still there itself, obviously, but the anything that's specific to Splash Mountain itself is being removed. Well, actually, more than that as well. You can see here that these lights are going to be removed. There's a lot of the different things that you see attached to the building, to the structure, have been tagged. And that tag tells the crews whether or not to destroy it or to keep it for, salvage, for archive. The stickers show both, so it's hard to say which is which. For example, this one, the old photo opportunity booth where you bought your photo, that has been in operation for a long time, but the sign was still there, the Barnaby Owl sign. That sign, very clearly, you can see where it says salvage and verified demolition. So I'm not sure which it is. I would hope that the Barnaby Owl sign gets salvaged. I hope that they put that in an archive somewhere. I hope there's a lot. The Splash Mountain sign, by the way, in the front of the building, gone. Clearly, that'll have been saved for salvage. Here's one. This is interesting. This is not a tag to salvage or to destroy. This one simply says "Speaker Protect," and it's just a sticker on the brick wall there. And my guess is that something is embedded near there, which you can't see, or there is. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't mean speaker literally. That's a good question, actually. I wonder if that's a term that has some other meaning. Also, while we're on the ground here, there's a free roaming Eeyore out here in Critter Country now, which I assume is meant to, you don't normally see walk around characters in Critter Country. There's just a meet and greet, the Pooh Corner meet and greet, which is still in operation. Pooh was there meeting guests when we were there, but they've also got a free roaming Eeyore to help draw in guests to let everybody know that Critter Country is still open for business. Speaking of which, let's go to Pooh Corner. And if you walk in, everything seems to be business as usual in here until you reach the end of the store. It's a dead end. So if you want to shop all the way in the rear of the building, you have to, make your way back there, of course, but you can't just exit out the back. You got to turn around and go back the way you came. That's going to suck. And I mean that not from like, gosh, what a drag. I have to turn around and walk back. No, it's the traffic. It's going to create a bit of a traffic problem in short order. They've also put up this mural on the construction wall. It's not just Tiana's Foods, but there's this mural. And at first I didn't understand what they were doing here. I just thought it was a fun mural to put on there. But there's a little sign next to it that says, hey, you guys, you can pose in front of this mural and pretend like you're playing the instruments. The instruments, if you look at it again, there's nobody playing the instruments, the drums and whatnot. So you stand next to the instrument, the tambourine, and get your picture taken. I also stopped by the secret path just to make sure that it was still open, which it was. I mean, the view's not quite the same. I mean, it's still lovely, but you can't, it doesn't look like you want it to look. Plus, you got these scrims up here guarding some of the most beautiful parts of the path, but you can still walk through the path. You can still enjoy this part of it. You can still watch, the river traffic go by. And you can see also here that they've installed some wood platforms. This is to allow crew to walk along that because it's very slippery if they don't put that in there. So these wooden platforms are there so they can work along the path of I'm guessing they're cleaning it or something to that effect, because I don't think they need to do anything to repair it per se or change it. It's not required as part of the update to Splash Mountain or to Tianas Bayou Adventure. The one thing it's missing, though, is it's so quiet. There's no sound. There's no sound there's no music. There's no sound of the water. There's no screaming. So it is definitely missing that element. The secret path is. I can report also that Briar Patch is still open. The gift shop is still open. I'm not sure what the future is for this building, if they're still going to call it the Briar Patch or not, but it is still the Briar Patch today. As a matter of fact, it is here you can find so far the one remaining symbol of the Splash Mountain. Brer Rabbit is still on the wall. As a matter of fact, the Brer Rabbit picture has not been tagged. So there you go. That's our status for Tianas Bayou Adventure as of this week. We're going to come check by here every single week, I guess. This is going to reach Avengers Campus, Galaxy's Edge type coverage, I think. Maybe not quite as serious, but I mean, I'm going to be here every week to see what we can see. This is an important project for the Disney company, important for Disneyland, important for a lot of people. As I mentioned in the video, they simply cannot. They have to get this right. They must get this right, and so I'm hoping to see some cool things come out of. I've heard good things, that the Imagineers working on this are thrilled, and so that's good. I like to hear that. And as usual, we'll make our last stop in San Fransokyo. I stopped this time because I noticed something at the Cocina Cucamonga, at the what's going to be the cerveceria. They had those walls up. They've closed off that part of the restaurant for a while now, and I haven't been paying any attention. But I just noticed this week that they have in fact built an extension to the restaurant in order to accommodate the new beer service location. You can kind of see here in the concept art that building right there, that little, I don't know, that's like 100 square feet of space there that they have appended to this building that it's now sticking out. That's where I had speculated that that's what they were going to do, because you can kind of see from the art there that it is sticking out where it didn't used to. And then of course, also if you were to peek around the corner, you will find that the old Pacific Wharf distribution company, the beer truck, the Carl Strauss beer truck, is gone. Finally, we've been waiting for this. I mean, we come back here every week to see if everything is as it was. This week, things are not as it were. They have removed the beer truck. It's gone. No beer at present at Pacific Wharf, with the exception of whatever they serve at Cocina Cucamonga. So the beer truck is gone. That's going to be a Baymax meet and greet when they're done. And that's actually, they're supposed to be done this summer. We are now in summer. It's June. So this should be happening in a month or two. Meanwhile, last week we showed you that new art that they have over the restrooms by Lucky Fortune. They have dropped the scrim and scaffold, and revealing some Baymax, half a Baymax anyway. Or I guess, okay, that's a male and a female Baymax, I guess, kinda at the entrances to the restrooms. That's cute. That's San Fransokyo this week, and that is our report. Thanks, everybody, for watching. I hope you enjoyed. That was a lot, you guys. That was a lot. Oh my gosh, there's so much going on. I had so much fun filming this. I was there shooting B-roll for like 8 hours on this day, and I really enjoyed that. And this is an exciting time right now. A lot of things happening, a lot of things cooking at Disneyland. I'm looking forward to the future. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next week. Be safe out there. Be kind to one another. And fresh baked.